It's really interesting when we build our characters is that people said, where did Voss come from? And I think where Voss came from was a combination of an idea, a theory of how to be able to execute on that idea, the performance, the actor, certainly, and then all of those things coming together and then being able to take that into 3D. But when we went back and looked at it, what we really tried to do was, and the reason why we came up with characters like Voss and then Pagan Min was, we kind of imagined that we were back in the schoolyard. And we imagined the first time as kids that we run into somebody who's beyond our own imagination. So maybe, you're 5 or 6 or 7 years old and you get into your first fight. Somebody walks up to you and they step into your space. Mom and dad's not there. Nobody's there to help you. And they give you a push. And you realize for the first time that you're gonna have to do something. There's nobody else that can help you. And it's a transcendent moment because it's the first time it's happened. You have a couple of choices. You can turn turtle and be that person. You can clench your fists and feel the blood rush and want to do something but not, or you can punch them in the throat. And I think that was what Voss was. He was the bully that first shows up and gives you that push on the playground. And so we pushed the actor and we got a ton out of it to be able to try and make that feeling of a bully. So then when we go to make Pagan Min, we go, all right, hold on, let's go back to the process. Who would Pagan Min be if you were to go back to that moment where you were a kid at school, your first fight, or you're looking out over at all the other kids at school? Who would they be? And you look over and you see the kid who's texting and is in their own world. You see the future musician, and then you see the guy who's got charm. Not necessarily the most popular guy, but he's got real charm, and he's that friend that's not good for you. Everybody has that friend in their past who's really dangerous for them, and if they stay friends with them, you're either going to end up dead or in jail. This is the friend that comes over for dinner and winks at your mom, and your mom blushes. That's who Pagan Min is. He has the ability to make his hair any color he wants because he's charming. He's intelligent. If he wants to wear a pink suit, let him wear the pink suit. He will charm you. He will absolutely challenge you when he gets off that helicopter to look at him and go, oh, I know what you are. I understand exactly what you are. And 5 seconds later, he's killing somebody with a pen, and you're going, I have no idea what you are, but I know what's coming. You're gonna kill me. And 5 seconds later, he's giving you a hug and saying, this is gonna be amazing. You have no idea.
You just referenced Far Cry 3. Can you talk about what you learned from that game that you've applied to this game from the way people explore and interact within the open world dynamic?
It's a great question from the standpoint of what we learned. I think that when we built Far Cry 3, we really believed that we were building it in a very specific way, and that maybe players should play it in that way. And as we began to hand it over in playtests to people, and at Gamescom in 2012, we realized players were playing it however the hell they wanted to play it. And so it was great that we had this idea that this is the proper way to play it, but the reality is that it's a playground. It's an anecdote factory. So we learned a lot from that. We went online and we looked at some videos of different people doing things in the game. We looked at the fact that some people just forgot about the story. Some people just said, I want to go out into the open world, I want to have an amazing time, and I want to spend 20 hours just hunting. Or I want to use the wingsuit. Or I want to just drive around and just explore. And almost, in some cases, left the story behind. We had other people who said, no, I'm all about missions, and this is what I want to do, and I want to have the core of the single-player experience. And what we said was, how do we make it work for both? How do we make it so that they talk to each other? In Far Cry 3, we watched as we made a co-op campaign that was separate. And we watched as we had a PvP campaign that was separate. And we said, okay, how do we bring that all together? How do we make it so that it's one cohesive thing if we can? And how do we make it so that the story is a complement to the open world? How do we make it so the choices you make in the open world also affect the story? It's super tricky to do, especially bringing co-op into the open world full time. But I think the learning was looking at what people are doing online and applying it back to the game.